I survived the cold by going alone, staying by myself, and finding my spots.
Welcome, Homeless Life Stories.
The heart of America, Manhattan, the city where the lights never go out, where the glass towers mirror the golden glow of Wall Street, and designer shoes step across sidewalks scrubbed clean every morning. But if you look down, you'll see another city, a silent Manhattan, where over 80,000 people have no home, nearly 1 in every 20 residents living on the streets. The government spends $4.9 billion every year, yet the numbers refuse to fall. And like the echo of a subway horn past midnight, one question keeps haunting the city. How can the richest city in America still fail to keep its people sheltered? This isn't just an economic crisis, it's a test of conscience for a city that's forgotten prosperity doesn't equal justice. For I was hungry and you gave me food, I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you took me in. If Christ were to walk through New York today, would he find compassion or only the cold shadows of souls forgotten amid the rush? In this first chapter, we step into Fifth Avenue, where luxury and despair exist only a sidewalk apart, and where the invisible faces of Manhattan begin to tell the city's real story. Number 1. The invisible faces on Manhattan streets. Morning sunlight spills down the glass facades of Fifth Avenue, reflecting off marble sidewalks and polished storefronts. Footsteps hurry past, coffee in one hand, phone in the other, the rhythm of suits, heels, and ambition blending into a symphony of America's wealthiest borough. But turn a single corner, and the picture shatters. Beneath the glowing signs of Cartier, Gucci, and Apple, silver blankets and torn tents line the pavement. Tired eyes peek from the shadows, a quiet reminder that in Manhattan, light and darkness are separated by just one curb. At Columbus Circle, locals know the face of Marcus, 47, once a taxi driver who spent 2 decades weaving through these same streets. He used to take others to their offices, to dates, to birthdays, to weddings. Now he sleeps on a cold bench by the fountain, his worn jacket serving as a blanket against the wind. I used to drive people rushing to work, Marcus says. Now I just sit here and watch them pass by. The city didn't change, I just disappeared. Marcus isn't an addict, nor a criminal, just a man who lost his job, then his apartment, then slowly his place in the world. I'm not asking for money, he says quietly. I just wish someone would talk to me, even for a minute. It's the confession of a man who once belonged but now lives unseen by the city he helped move.
Thank you very much. Pray for us.
As of 2025, Manhattan has over 80,000 homeless residents, nearly 1 in every 20 people, a number that shouldn't exist in the richest city in America. They are taxi drivers, dishwashers, retail clerks, people who once powered the city's heartbeat and now sleep beneath its feet. Amid the rush hour crowd, they sit motionless, invisible. No longer seen as individuals, they've become issues, statistics, visual obstacles in a city obsessed with perfection but terrified to look closer. At night, under the neon glow of Herald Square, Thin faces reflect the city's light and silence. An elderly woman splits a sandwich in half. A young man strokes his dog's fur as if clinging to the last piece of warmth left in him. In this city of steel and glass, there are still small fires burning, flickers of kindness, proof that humanity hasn't vanished completely. Manhattan was once the symbol of opportunity, but when those who built it must now sleep beneath it, the city's lights no longer shine with hope, they shine upon the conscience of a society that forgot its own people. In the next part, we'll dive into the high cost of a dream city, where numbers aren't measured in dollars alone, but in the dignity and humanity that have been quietly lost along the way. Number 2. The high cost of a dream city. Manhattan has long been celebrated as the place where every dream can begin. But for most of its residents, the price of survival has far exceeded the promise of that dream. The average one-bedroom apartment now costs $4,200 per month, while the median income hovers around $81,000 a year, meaning more than half of a person's earnings go directly to rent. There was a time when one stable job was enough to live in New York. Today, even those working full-time stand one paycheck away from losing their home. Sarah, 29, once waited tables at a small diner near the Flatiron building. She loved the city, its chaos, its lights, the feeling of belonging to a place that never slept. But after the restaurant closed during the downturn, her savings vanished, bills piled up, and the small apartment she shared with her 4-year-old son slipped out of reach. "I'm not lazy," Sarah says. "I just can't keep up with the speed of the city anymore." Now she and her son live in a midtown shelter, sharing a single room with 3 other families. Every night she covers her son's ears so he won't hear the shouting from next door. "I used to dream of taking him to see the snow in Central Park," she says. "Now I just hope I can afford a new pair of shoes for him." The city spends $4.9 billion each year on homelessness programs, a staggering figure on paper, but most of that money goes toward temporary fixes, shelters, short-term clinics, or cleanup operations that move people from one street to another. The system functions like a bandage over a bleeding wound, never touching the true causes: a lack of affordable housing, soaring rents, and an ever-widening income gap. Economists note that if even 10% of that budget were redirected toward building long-term housing, Manhattan could reduce its homeless population by 1/3 in just 5 years. But policymakers continue to choose quick solutions over lasting ones. Why? Because poverty doesn't win votes and appearances keep the illusion of a dream city alive. On a corner of Broadway, a billboard reads, "Live your dream in Manhattan." Beneath it, a man curls up in his sleeping bag, clutching a worn backpack, perhaps everything he has left. The dream still exists, says one social worker, but for too many it's become a bill they can never pay. Number 3. The root causes of Manhattan's homeless crisis. To understand why more than 80,000 people in Manhattan no longer have a place to call home, we must look beyond the surface, beyond the statistics, and into the deeper roots of the crisis. Not everyone who ends up on the streets has failed. Many were simply left behind by a system that was never built to catch them. The cost of living in Manhattan has risen by more than 45% in the past decade. A tiny studio apartment now averages $3,800 per month, while the typical annual income for a service worker, retail employee, or teacher ranges between $45,000 and $60,000. The first slip into homelessness isn't about moral failure, it's about math. One medical bill, one missed paycheck, or one rent increase is all it takes for stability to collapse. Emma, 36, once worked as a sales associate at Rockefeller Center. When her retail chain downsized after the pandemic, she lost her job. 3 months later, her rent increased by $400. She moved to a smaller apartment in Harlem, only to be forced out again when the building was sold. Now, Emma lives in a Bronx shelter, commuting 2 hours each day for a part-time job at a cafe. "I used to help customers pick out dresses," she says quietly. Now I'm just trying to pick a safe place to sleep. I don't even know where home is anymore. Stories like Emma's echo across the borough of people who once held families together, now reduced to temporary data points and social reports. One major driver is gentrification, the relentless process of transforming working-class neighborhoods into luxury enclaves. As new developments rise, property values soar and longtime residents are forced out. In the past 20 years, only 2.8% of Manhattan's housing stock remains truly affordable. Streets that once belonged to the working class are now showcases for global wealth. This isn't a city for workers anymore, one urban researcher remarks. It's a city for owners. But inequality in Manhattan isn't just measured in rent, it's woven into the structure of opportunity itself. Low-wage jobs are increasingly unstable, wages stagnate, and the social safety net is tangled with bureaucracy, endless paperwork, strict eligibility rules, and time limits that punish the struggling. For many, even asking for help has become a battle. These forces, rising rents, job loss, social stratification, and a cold, bureaucratic system combine like invisible walls, pushing people to the edges of society. And when they fall, there's no real net to catch them. In the next part, we'll step underground into the subway tunnels where thousands of people seek what they call their last fragile refuge, and where we'll discover that shelter doesn't always mean safety. Number 4. The subway, a fragile haven. As night falls over Manhattan and the brilliant towers close another day of noise and light, a different world awakens beneath the streets. The screech of metal wheels against tracks mixes with the rush of underground wind, and amid that sound, hundreds of people find their temporary refuge, the New York City subway. For many who are homeless, this is the only place they can feel safe, at least for a while. It's warmer than the streets, protected from rain and wind, and perhaps most importantly, no one asks them where they belong. But this fragile haven is built on fear, sleeplessness, and isolation. James, 51, once worked as a construction laborer. After losing his job, he moved from an apartment to a shelter, and finally to the late-night trains on lines 1 and 2. He usually sits near the end of the car, clutching a worn canvas bag filled with a few old clothes and a fading family photo. I ride the trains because at least here I still feel like I'm moving, James says softly. If I stop, I'll have to think about everything I've lost. But the subway is far from safe. People are robbed, harassed, or forced off trains without warning. Police patrol the cars, loudspeakers announce no sleeping on the trains, and many passengers are pushed to switch lines constantly just to avoid being noticed. In the wealthiest city in America, a peaceful night's sleep has become a luxury. On cold metal benches, they curl up tightly, holding their bodies close to preserve what little warmth remains. A woman whispers a prayer under her breath. A young man cradles his dog for comfort. James stares out the window as the station lights flicker past like broken pieces of memory. Above ground, luxury cars hum through traffic. Fine restaurants glow with light, and high-rise apartments sparkle against the skyline. Below, hundreds drift through the darkness, silent souls beneath the city, still hoping one day to return to the surface as human beings again. We don't need pity, James says quietly. We just need a place to stop without being told to move. In the next section, we'll emerge from the tunnels to the city's surface, where temporary shelters have become fragile bandages covering the deep wounds of an entire metropolis. Number 5, shelter's a bandage, not a home. For those who have never stepped inside a shelter in Manhattan, the idea might sound hopeful, a temporary home for the unhoused. But in reality, most of these places are little more than a bandage over a bleeding wound. New York's shelter system can accommodate around 80,000 people each night, yet it remains constantly overcrowded. Narrow hallways echo with restless noise, exhaustion hangs heavy in the air. Many must stand in line for hours just to get a thin mattress, only to be woken at 5 a.m. and told to leave even when the cold outside could freeze bone. Teresa, 47, once worked as a chef in a small Italian restaurant in Soho. After the restaurant shut down, she drifted between shelters across the city. I'm grateful for a roof, she says, but I never sleep here. I'm always afraid someone will steal my bag or start yelling in the middle of the night. Her voice softens. This place doesn't make me feel safe. It makes me feel like a number. Inside these shelters, privacy is rare, emotional support is nearly non-existent, and the path to permanent housing is barely visible. They are built to contain a crisis, not to cure it. People stay for weeks or months, then return to the streets and inevitably back to the shelter again. It's a cycle of survival without progress, a system treating symptoms while ignoring the cause. Meanwhile, hundreds of buildings across Manhattan sit empty, owned by investment firms and real estate trusts, waiting for property values to climb. The contrast is impossible to ignore. How can a city have so many vacant rooms and yet so little space for human beings to rest? One housing advocate calls it an economic crime when profit is valued above life itself. And the bitter irony: the very people who helped build this city, the cooks, laborers, and drivers, now sleep in the shadows of the skyscrapers they once helped erect. Manhattan prides itself on being the heart of America. But if that heart has grown too cold to feel the pain around it, can it still be called a city of humanity? Number 6, the invisible scars of homelessness. Amid the rush of Times Square, countless nameless faces move like shadows within the city's dazzling lights. They sit quietly on subway steps, holding cardboard signs scrawled with shaky letters, "Just need a chance." But what few see is that their deepest wounds aren't on their skin, they live within their hearts. Isolation, shame, and the feeling of invisibility slowly erode a person's sense of worth. After months or years of being looked at with suspicion or indifference, many begin to believe they no longer deserve love, that they no longer belong anywhere. "I stopped recognizing myself in the mirror," says Marcus, the former taxi driver from the beginning of our story. "When you don't have an address, no one calls your name anymore." Psychologists estimate that over 40% of Manhattan's homeless population suffer from mental health conditions such as depression, PTSD, or anxiety disorders. Yet only 1 in 10 ever receives treatment. The rest endure silently, surrounded by honking cars in a world too busy to care. In a city where everything has a price, emotional healing seems to be the one thing no one is willing to pay for. And that is the quiet tragedy of Manhattan, a place where people can be seen on every corner, yet so few are truly seen. In the next section, we will seek out the beacons of hope, the ordinary individuals who are rising to bring light back to those lost souls wandering the city that never sleeps. Number 7, beacons of hope, volunteers and organizations. Amid the darkness of despair, small lights still shine across Manhattan each night, not from luxury towers or glowing billboards, but from makeshift kitchens in the hands of volunteers sharing one sandwich, one cup of hot soup at a time. At the corner of Washington Square Park, Mr. Samuel, 68, pushes a small cart filled with homemade bread every evening. Once a professional baker, he now spends his entire pension feeding the unhoused. "I can't give them a home," he says, his trembling hand slicing bread, "but I can give them a meal. Because I believe that when the stomach is full, the heart can finally hear hope." Not far away, the Bowery Mission, an organization that has stood for over 140 years, keeps its doors open through the night, welcoming hundreds of people who have nowhere else to go. They don't just serve food, they offer job training, counseling, and, above all, treat each person as a human being worthy of dignity and respect. The volunteers here are not strangers. They are students, retirees, and even those who once lived on the streets themselves. They understand what it means to be forgotten, and that's why they've chosen to become the helping hand they once longed for. Places like Bowery Mission and the Coalition for the Homeless cannot transform everything overnight, but they are the silent beacons keeping the city from losing its soul entirely. For in this concrete jungle, compassion still exists, small but unyielding, a quiet reminder that no one should ever be left alone in the dark. In the next section, we'll see how small acts of kindness can create ripples of change, as communities begin to rise together to rewrite Manhattan's story, a story proving that the city still remembers how to love. Number 8, grassroots efforts, small actions, big impact. When large-scale policies move too slowly, real change often begins with small acts with ordinary people, quietly doing extraordinary things. In West Manhattan, a local volunteer group called Hands of Hope gathers every Friday afternoon to serve meals. They don't have a big budget, only big hearts. Each week, they cook more than 1,000 meals and deliver them to Penn Station, Herald Square, and subway platforms where hundreds of unhoused people seek shelter. We don't ask who they are, one member says. If they're hungry, we come. Also in 2025, the campaign West Side Against Hunger served over 10,000 meals every month. At St. Luke's Church, the doors stay open through the night, offering blankets, warm water, and even quiet moments of prayer for those who have nowhere else to go. When you pray with them, says the elderly priest, you realize that God doesn't live in the skyscrapers. He lives among those who are suffering. But this isn't just about kindness, it's about real structured action. Some groups have launched job skills training programs, helping over 1,500 people each year regain employment in service work, sanitation, and building maintenance. Among them is Maria, a former nurse who lost her home after the pandemic. Today, she has a stable job and mentors other homeless women trying to rebuild their lives. I lost everything, she says. But when someone believed in me, I finally learned how to believe in myself again. Stories like these remind us that justice doesn't only come from legislatures or budgets, it begins with compassion and the actions of everyday people. When small hands come together, even a cold city can start to feel warm again. And perhaps hope doesn't live in grand plans or billion-dollar projects, but in how we choose to look at one another as people, not statistics. In the next section, we'll see how technology is becoming a bridge connecting, rescuing, and even restoring dignity to those society has forgotten. Number 9, technology is a tool for change. In the 21st century, where people can hail a ride, order food, and pay bills with a single tap, the cruel irony is that those who most need connection are often the ones left behind. Yet in Manhattan, a new wave of hope is rising, where technology is no longer a luxury but a lifeline. Young engineers from the Tech for Humanity initiative have developed an app called HomeLink, which allows unhoused individuals to locate nearby shelters, public showers, and free meal services, all updated in real time. In just the first 6 months of 2025, the app helped more than 5,000 people find safety and resources. I used to walk for hours just to find out a shelter was full, says David, 42. Now I press one button and find a bed in 10 minutes. Beyond that, another project called AI Bridge Hope is piloting an automated job matching system. The AI analyzes individual skills and connects users with short-term local jobs, from cleaning and deliveries to park maintenance. Within 3 months, over 300 people have regained stable income. What's remarkable is that technology here doesn't replace people, it connects them. Charities have begun using QR codes to let citizens donate directly to individuals, instead of through intermediaries. Each donation comes with a real story, a photo, a short introduction, a small dream. When asked what makes him believe technology can truly change lives, David smiles softly. It's not because it gave me a phone, he says, it's because it made me feel seen again. In the next section, we'll return to the voices of the city, the ordinary men and women who, despite losing everything, continue fighting to be seen, to be heard, and to be loved once more. Number 10, voices echoing through the city. As night falls over Manhattan, amid the hum of traffic and the glow of neon lights, small voices continue to rise, not in complaint, but as quiet reminders that they are still here. Linda, 63, once an elementary school teacher in Queens, lost her home due to medical expenses. She now lives near Grand Central Station, where every evening she writes her name on a small piece of paper and tapes it to the wall, so that in the morning if someone asks who I am, she says, I can still point to it and say, I'm Linda. I'm still here. A few blocks away, Marcus, the former taxi driver, still shares a sandwich with strangers. Sarah holds her child close each night in a Harlem shelter, whispering Bible verses to keep her heart at peace. Teresa, once fearful inside the shelters, now volunteers to help other women feel safe. Each one is a story, a fragment of the vast, unseen mosaic that this city often tries to forget. Beneath the towers, where million-dollar contracts are signed every day, there are people signing their names to survival with courage, with faith. And in their voices, we can hear the echo of conscience. A city is only truly great when it dares to kneel down and see its smallest people. In the final part, Homeless Life Stories will share a heartfelt call to action, not through statistics or slogans, but through the voices of those still waiting to be seen, to be heard, and to believe that tomorrow can still hold hope. Number 11, a call to see and to act. New York, the city that never sleeps, yet tens of thousands still sleep on its streets each night. 80,000 souls, 80,000 untold stories. This is not merely a housing crisis. It is a moral test for an entire society. At Homeless Life Stories, we believe every change begins with understanding. Listen to Marcus, Sarah, Linda, and thousands of others. They are not asking for pity. They are asking to be seen as part of the city they once helped build. We call upon you. Share this video to spread awareness and break the silence. Support local organizations where every dollar becomes a meal, a blanket, or a second chance. Use your voice to demand affordable housing, accessible mental health care, and more compassionate policies. Our team at Homeless Life Stories is launching the Find the Missing project, an effort to reconnect families torn apart by homelessness. Many missing loved ones could be among the faces you've seen in our stories. If you are searching for someone or think you recognize a familiar face, leave a comment below. One small message could become the miracle that brings a family back together. And if you still believe in the power of compassion, join us in prayer. May God guide those who are lost, that they may find home, love, and themselves once again. Amen.